right, Felyn, we come to you as you kind of go to part ways with your newfound friends, acquaintances, uh, named Rusa and Felisa. And you are now sort of meandering in the Prismari dorm area as you are trying to go about finding the friend you met yesterday, Amaka.
Yeah.
If you like, you can tell me how you would like to go looking for her, or you could just attempt to see if you can find her room. It's honestly up to you.
Are there any students like out in the hallway right now?
Um, yeah, coming and going. There's not a lot of people like loitering in these dorms like there are in the first year dorms. Um, but like there are definitely people like wandering around if you like want to like ask them where her room is.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay, cool. So you stop somebody and you sort of talk with them for a minute, saying that you're looking for somebody. And true to every other piece of evidence you found, it's actually extremely easy to find where people stay in this college, which is interesting. Um, but you do definitely find where her room is supposed to be as you kind of go and walk over, and it is room. Where are my dorms? It's my dorms. Okay, there we go. Room 203.
203. Hell yeah.
And you go over to the door. The door is closed, and also what you now know is the studio door next to it, to its right, is also closed. So how do you approach getting into this room?
I'm a knock.
I'm gonna just knock and wait. Cool. I imagine all my players are like polite like that, but also it feels weird to like just be like, no, you do it this way. You know what I mean? I never know.
Yeah.
So you go to knock, and you hear some shuffling around, and you see a door open, and you see a familiar but unexpected shock of bright pink hair. As you actually see Rionia standing in front of you, and she looks you over and she's like, oh, well, hello there. I didn't think you need to find me so soon after the last time we talked.
Oh, this is the fire dance lady.
Yes.
Yes. Flynn will look a little surprised and say, "Oh, hello. Yes, I didn't know you would be staying here. It's lovely to see you again."
Yeah, this is my dorm room. And she
Oh,
kind of flourishes an arm and shows you the inside of it. I will see if I have a picture of this dorm room. I might not yet. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so I don't have their room prepared, but I can give you kind of a vibe of like where things are set up compared to another dorm room. So I'm gonna DM you this
yeah.
as like a vague concept. As you can see, it's really not super set up yet. Whether that means that they haven't set up a lot, or they might not have had like a lot of time to set up. This is only like the second day, so maybe people who are not super set up in dorms might have more simple rooms, that sort of thing. And she kind of shows you it, kind of still standing in the doorway.
Hell yeah. Flynn's gonna look it over and say, "Oh, it's very nice."
Thanks. We're still in the middle of unpacking. You know how it goes, but hopefully by the end of it, we'll have a more interesting room to show off.
Flynn will chuckle a bit and say, "Well, I'd be delighted to see it once it's all set up."
You'll be the first I tell.
Flynn is going to kind of touch her head to the side a little bit and say, "I was actually coming here looking for Annika, but if..." I'm trying to think how she would word this. Because I was about to say if you would be down to, but I don't think Felyn would say that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
Uh, she'll say, but I would love to have some conversation with you, if you would like.
Oh, yeah. I don't know where Amaka went. Let me check and see if she's in the studio or not. And you see her kind of go to like saunter over to the side door, effectively leaving you in the doorway with the door open. So it's really up to you on if you come in or not. You weren't really given any directive on that.
Felyn's just gonna stand in the doorway.
Amazing. As you see her kind of go to open these big double doors, and walk into the studio, effectively leaving you by yourself in the doorway with the door open.
She was not given permission or direction to enter. She is staying put.
I love her so much. The most polite vampire imaginable. Um, uh, though something that does interest you is you do start to hear sort of like conversation from the other room, which leads you to believe that Amaka must be in there. Otherwise, somebody else would have to be in their studio. And after a while, you see Rionia poke her head back into the room and see you standing in the doorway and gives you kind of a look, and she's like, "You can come in."
We'll
You know.
smile and say thank you. And she's gonna come in and close behind her. And then she's gonna walk up.
Nice. So you walk up, and this room is a little bit more outfitted than the dorm room, but not decorated essentially. Basically, on one side of the room, there's a bunch of things like hoops and staves and trunks and that sort of thing. And then on the other side, there's a bunch of trunks and tables and like giant bolts of cloth. You recognize them as the same bolts of cloth that you saw Amaka with on like the first day, that haven't really been put away, like in case, just in case, and you see Rionia and Amaka are kind of talking, and they're standing near this sort of in the studios of the Prismari dorms that you've seen so far. You've always seen 3 really big windows in the north room, and you see that Amaka and Rionia are kind of talking over there next to a windowsill that has a really cute little jar of herbs and leaves and a little
Ooh.
incense going. And Amaka sees you and kind of perks up, and she's like, "Oh, Felyn, hello."
Hello, it's good to see you again.
Yes, it is. Did you need anything?
Oh, not really. I wanted to check in and see how things went yesterday.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. Uh, things are going all right. I've gotten a little bit more business. I actually just had a student come by, and you see her kind of go and look to like the jar next to her, and she says, "They didn't have any money, but she gave me a charm."
Oh, that's delightful.
Yes, I'm very excited. She said that it'll help me get more money.
Oh, I didn't know charms could do such
Oh, sorry, what's up?
a thing. She said, I didn't know that charms could do such a thing.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm not really sure on the specifics either. I don't know many witches, but you never know. So I wasn't gonna spurn it. If that's what she says it does, I'm just gonna hope that it works.
Felyn nods, and says, I wish you luck with it then.
Thank you. How's your day been going? Have you been settling in?
Yes, I actually have been doing my best to learn more about the different campuses and whatnot.
Oh, that's really fun. There's a lot to see on all of the campuses. I hope you're having a good time with it. I feel like at the beginning when you're getting to see everything is always the most exciting part.
Flynn has a big smile and nods her head, and she says, "Oh, yes, me and my other roommates are going to be touring each of them today."
Oh, that sounds lovely. Was this your first stop?
Mhm.
Oh, that's lovely.
I was very stricken by the Prismari campus and wanted to show it to them.
It's definitely very flamboyant, very flashy. Uh, I feel like some of the other campuses don't look as in your face, but some of the things that are on them, I feel like more than make up for that.
Uh, well, nuts. Uh, what was I about to say?
Oh, fuck, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I had it. I was about to say it, and then I opened my mouth and it fled from my mind.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. I will say, while you're thinking, I think that Rionia is kind of just chilling, like half in the conversation, and just like sits on like a trunk, like swinging her legs.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, straight vibing.
Oh, I remember. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Felyn was going to say I actually managed to meet with Rutha again earlier.
Oh, really?
Mhm. I also met her friend Lisa.
Oh, wow. Did anything happen? And you see, like, she looks like concerned.
Felyn kind of tilts her head, looking a bit confused, and she says, "Oh no, we had a lovely conversation though."
Wow, that's kind of amazing.
Oh yes, I take it she has a reputation.
She's a little um mean. Oh, well, I guess mean is strong, but she I'm at a loss of words to how to describe it, but I feel like a lot of interactions I hear about with her aren't pleasant, is I guess what I'm trying to say.
And kind
I
of nods
haven't
in understanding.
I haven't had the chance to really have a conversation with her, as I've only just gotten to Prismari campus, but I guess word travels fast. But I guess it's nice to hear that she's not how people say she is.
Felyn nods and gives a bit of a smile and says, "I think, from my understanding, she seems to have a lot on her plate, and so I think perhaps that might make her come off as a bit snippy, snappy.
Mm. Oh, I think that makes sense. Yeah,
But she really is a delight."
that's nice. Maybe I'll see her now that we're staying in the same dorms.
Felyn nods. Felyn's going to look to Rionia and is going to say, "This is your first time entering Prismatic Campus?"
1 second. I have to remember. I have to look up what year Rionia was again. Uh, First time entering it, no. I took a couple classes in my first year. When you get farther along, they let you start taking classes on certain campuses. But this is my first year staying here.
Ah, I see.
Yes. Generally the way they explain how classes work, but they generally have like a list of like the ones they want you to take as first years, and then you get a lot of access to a lot of general things, but like you're not uh, beholden to not studying on other campuses.
Felyn's nods and says, "Oh, that's good to hear, actually. I think I'll enjoy having the freedom."
Yeah, I hear some teachers even teach on multiple campuses, so I assume even after you pick it, you can, uh, study other colleges' courseworks and that sort of thing.
Ooh.
I wouldn't know, I haven't done it, but like I assume so.
Uh, well, I certainly hope that is the case. I'm a big learner.
Don't worry, you seem like the type.
Someone chuckles a bit. She says, "That's obvious."
I don't think it's like super obvious. You don't have like nerd vibes, but you're particularly bright-eyed about everything. So I get the vibes.
Felyn will chuckle a bit. And she's going to say, how do I want to word this? She's gonna say, after like chuckling a little bit, well, now I have something to bring back to my family back home. I am not as much of a nerd as they say I am.
You can tell them that you got the say-so from me, who is someone who is very much not a nerd and in fact very cool.
Oh yes, of course.
And
It
she
will
kinda
help
gives
that
you a wink.
it has. It will help that it has come from an expert in coolness.
I love Felyn. She's so cute. I love her to death.
Excuse me. Felyn will look at both of them and say, I don't suppose either of you would know any particular locations of interest on the campus? Things to see or do?
On Prismari?
Mm-hmm.
You see Amaka kind of tap her chin, and say, well... The observatory is pretty cool. That's the room on top of Conjurat Hall, and she kind of gestures to the big tower that you can see out the window. And she says, if you're interested in art, the Opus Walk is very cool. They have alumni magic sculptures on display out there. And then Rionia kind of chimes in and says, Art House is pretty cool, if I must say. And Amaka kind of rolls her eyes and waves a hand and says, yes, of course, and Art House, of course, Rionia's dear beloved shop. But other than that, there's less, I suppose, things to do on Prismari campus. It's more just things that are very pretty and can give you inspiration, I suppose, is the way I would describe it.
Felyn nods. And she's going to look to Rionia real quick and say, you have a shop?
Well, it's technically, no, it's not my shop. It's a shop that was started as a tradition among Prismari students. So you might have heard mention, but Strixhaven doesn't really have access to outside economy, and it's really hard to make money. So different places on campus kind of have become places where students can sell services or things that they make. And they're usually community run. And Art House is the one on Prismari campus, and I have the joy of being one of its, I suppose, main organizers this year.
Oh.
Yes, so if you need things like fabric, materials for art, kits and tools, costumes, instruments, and that sort of thing, just pieces of art that you would like, I'm sure you can find something at Art House, or I can help you find someone who can make what you want.
Felyn gets a big smile. And she will say, oh, I will be sure to ask you. knowing myself, I likely will be seeking out the jewelry sometime in the future.
That's great to hear. And I guess since this is the first time you've heard about it, you should keep an ear out on the other campuses. There's one for each one. And she gives a wink.
Ooh. Ah.
Yes. Whether they're student run or more faculty run really depends on the college, but they're around.
She not? She's actually going to think for a second and say, there was also I'm sure I could talk to a counselor or some sort about these. There are jobs on campus, yes?
Oh yeah, there's a good handful. Unfortunately, Art House doesn't really pay me. Well, I don't get paid by the faculty. I mostly just get paid by people purchasing from me. But there are like official job postings throughout campus, as well as generally other ways to make money.
One will nod. Felyn's actually going to look to Amaka and ask, do you intend on selling any of your work in the art house?
I I hope so. I suppose I would have to first like make some for display. Obviously, like people can commission directly uh, through Rionia, but I suppose I would need to get my name out there first, so people know that they could like get things from me specifically. It's a bit more difficult when it comes to clothes because of the fit and personal tastes and that sort of thing. But I'm sure I could do like simple things. But I I guess I would have to be careful about stepping on like the toes of like Groff and stuff, since he also sells clothes.
Oh,
Oh yeah, uh, he runs the Biblioplex store. They sell like embroidered scarves and tunics and cloaks and stuff for like the different colleges, or like just with like the star and stuff. Um, so I suppose depending on it, uh, well, I actually don't know if that's against the rules or not, but I guess I could also make scarves. I might feel bad doing that though. I might take business. And she kind of starts like mumbling to herself over the ethics of if she should sell like mass-produced fashion when you could get it from the Biblioplex store.
uh, Felyn will leave her for a moment to her ethic dilemma, and will look to Rionia, and say, I was not told there was a store within the Biblioplex. Where is it located?
Oh yeah, it's like right next to the cafe. If you've been to the Biblioplex cafe.
Oh,
Yeah, they sell like
yeah.
some cool stuff. They have like a couple of magic items. They have like some books uh that are like magic-y, and like then they sell like the clothes and stuff. They're pretty nice. I would say if you want a tip, and she kind of stage whispers and she says, not saying don't buy the clothes from Groff, but if you're gonna buy them with, just get them with the star, because you'll get a free one with your college embroidery when you get in the college. So you don't have to buy them.
Oh.
Well, you don't have to buy those ones. You can buy other ones if you like want, but like I'm trying to save you from like accidentally getting two pairs.
Felyn will nod. And whenever she had mentioned the books that are kind of magic-y, Felyn's eyes kind of widened a little bit. And she's going to say, what do you mean by magic-y books?
Well, like they like have magic to them. I'm not super sure. They're kind of expensive, so I never bought one. Um, But I do know that they help with magic, but they aren't spell books. They made sure to stress that. Because at first I thought, oh, that's just like a wizard thing. But like, no, it's apparently something that most spellcasters can use.
Oh,
Yeah, they're called.
okay.
They're like specific too. So like, there's like the Witherbloom primer, and like the Prismari primer, and the Lorehold primer. But I don't know what they do. You should probably ask Groff if you want to know.
I will be sure to. This is of great interest to me. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So look at both of them and say, I also managed to look at the clubs the other day. Are there any that you are thinking of joining this year?
Oh, you see Amaka go to think about it, and she's like, "Oh, I haven't thought about if I wanted to get in new clubs this year." Well, last year sorry, I'm looking at stuff. Well, last year I kind of hung out with the Distinguished Society of Fine Artists, but I was thinking this year maybe looking into the Entrepreneurs of Strixhaven, but yeah, I just think that it would be interesting, I suppose. I don't really have a pull towards any of the clubs necessarily, but trying out a new one could be fun.
Well, that's an agreement. And she says, I've actually been thinking about joining the cheer squad.
Oh, with Xanther?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be cute. You should. It always looks like such fun. He's really nice.
He is very nice. He helped me do a lift. He lifted me.
Oh, yeah, the stunts and stuff?
Yes, and that was very, very fun. I am not typically inclined to the physical exertion, but I want to try new things while I am here.
Yeah, that sounds super fun. You might have to do a little bit of catching up. I think they have to do like drills and like runs and stuff, but like it's definitely not as like intensive as like Silk Ball. So like I think that could be really fun to try out.
Fun nuts. She says, I was debating between that and dragon chess, but I've already done dragon chess before in a previous life, so I think I will save that for later.
You see Rionia kind of give a shrug and she says, I really can't blame you. I can't imagine how. It's not that I think chess itself is boring, but I guess when the whole club is just becoming better at chess or just playing chess all the time, I feel like there's like, I guess, better use of an extracurricular slot than that. Like you could play dragon chess whenever you wanted.
Fun nods and shrugs a bit. She says, I do get the appeal of it, uh, especially if they might be having tournaments. But it's learning something new entirely is more interesting to me than reacquainting myself with something I already knew.
I get
You
that.
know?
Oh yeah, I get that entirely. If you're interested in okay, if you should definitely try out Cheer Squad. Xanther's really fun. But if you decide that the Cheer Squad isn't up to snuff, but you still want to be physically active, you can also join my club that I'm reinstating back into, which is the gymnastics club. And that one's a little bit less
Ooh.
into the running and the lifting.
Oh. Definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And it is your club?
And well, no, nobody like runs the clubs. They're all just like a collective. But
Um,
I am in it, is what I meant.
well, if you're in it, that I am sure it will be a good time. I need to. Fuck, hang on, I have to go back to my notes. Hang on, fuck.
No, that's a-okay. I'm also debating Rionia bringing up a conversation topic that I think will be very fun after we do
Ooh.
this. Wait, no, I think I'm gonna do it now. I think I'm gonna do it now while you're planning out your next thing to say, because I think Rionio is gonna look at you saying that and just be like, of course. And also, like, potentially of important note, potentially not of important note. Xanther is also in that one, so.
Oh. Felyn gets like slightest hint of blush. And she just nods her head, and she says, "Duly noted."
You see Rionia just kind of give a Cheshire grin and like a wink. And then Maka's just like, Rionia, and she's just like, what? He's cute. We all know it. We're all thinking it. And Amaka just kind of puts her hands on her face and looks away. She's like,
Felyn just nods in agreement and looks to Maka and says, "She's not wrong."
She looks twice as embarrassed, and she's like,
Looking through, trying to get names.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Okay. Felyn will kind of wave her hand back and forth, kind of like trying to like moving on to the next topic, and is going to look to Amaka and say, "Did you happen to get any more customers yesterday? There was two girls that I had directed to you. One was named Delaney, and the other one was named Aurora."
Oh, yes, they did stop by. I remember they mentioned it. Sorry, I got distracted by I guess today's been kind of hectic. But no, it was really nice. It was, and you see she comes to kind of like her expression, kind of like her mouth kind of goes to the side, and she's like thinking, and she's like, they were a little bit more involved, but I didn't mind it. Eleni in particular was a really generous patron, so it was really nice. Got to really have a challenge.
Felyn gives a big smile and says, "I'm glad. Though I am curious now, if you do not mind my asking, what was the challenge?"
They both just had really particular things that they wanted, I suppose. And working with the first year uniform, there's really not a lot of wiggle room, I guess. So it was kind of hard to explain to them, like, well, like especially like the color rule, like you can't wear other schools' colors, you have to wear the gray. And like just style things, but like I think they ended up coming out really nice.
I see.
Yes. Knowing what you want isn't always bad. It's just sometimes, you have to work with them a little more,
Felyn's gonna kind of think for a moment, and she's going to look up to them, and she's going to ask, "Do either of you know much about the other professors?"
Oh, like teachers in general, or like Prismari teachers specifically?
In general, I do not believe she is working on Prismari. I didn't write this down. I feel like Serafina was Witherbloom.
Yeah, she said she was a Witherbloom teacher,
Okay.
but she didn't say what she taught.
Okay. Uh, then Felyn would say, she's a Witherbloom professor?
You see them both kind of look to each other, and kind of think and shrug. And Amaka turns back and says, I haven't really, done a lot of classes over on Witherbloom. Their magic isn't really something that's in my wheelhouse. And Riona kind of shrugs and says the same. And she says, like, yeah, if you're not, like, going into, like, science or plants or necromancy, it's not really, like, super pertinent to take classes over there. So I don't really know any of the Witherbloom professors.
Nods and says, this is understandable. We got visited by one of them. Oh crap, was that this morning? Or was that yesterday?
That was last night before Sneep.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got visited by one yesterday, and she was had a very imposing presence.
Oh, that sounds like Witherbloom, all right. Was it, oh my god, was it Onyx?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. I do know a little bit about her, but not like a ton. But like, she had, I don't want to say a kerfuffle, but like, I guess last year's when we found out that she was like a planeswalker and stuff. So there was a lot of like, I guess not drama, but like, the school was like a buzz because like that's like weird, you know? No offense.
No, this is not. No, I understand what you mean. It is not from my understanding, not a very common thing.
Yeah, and like she's been a teacher here for like a while, and like she like even like graduated from here, so it's like it was crazy to find out that we had just like never known, and then we just found out last year.
Did she also find out last year, or was it something that she just never shared?
Oh, well, I guess I don't know when she became a planeswalker, but I guess from my understanding, she's not from here, so I assume that like it's just that we found out.
Okay.
I guess I don't know the details because I was only a first year at the time, but I feel like the way it came out, like it was like she had to tell people. I feel like maybe just somebody found out and then it got made public, you know? But yeah, that's wild. Sorry I don't know more about her.
Oh no, it's fine. This, frankly, is very interesting information regardless.
Yeah, how am I gonna say this sentence?
Oh, I gotta sneeze.
No, you're totally good. I'll wait for you to finish.
No, I lost it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bessie.
I lost it.
That's the worst.
It's so annoying every time.
I think she's gonna kind of like put her hand, Rionia is gonna put a hand to her chin and tap it a bit and like kind of make a gesture pointing at you and says, I mean, if you want to know more about her, you always could like go and like, you could always go and talk to those twins on Prismari. They hang out a lot.
Yes, I was actually just about to ask you if you knew anything about them.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I know a little bit about them, I suppose. I know a bit more about, Rowan, the sister. I see her around, but, like, you know, at, like, the cafe and at, like, the tavern and that sort of thing, but we don't really share any classes. I don't know a lot about her, but, I do know that they both hang out with Onyx a lot, so whenever all the stuff came out about Onyx, it was also a whole big thing.
Sounds like it was quite the gossip for last year.
a lot of gossip travels around this school very quickly. There's always something big, I feel like, happening. But you should definitely talk to them if you want to know more about Onyx. And I guess if you find out more about their deal, I would, since we're already talking about gossip, I would love to know. Because I never see them in any of the art classes or the music classes. So, like, why are they even on Prismari? You know?
Hmm.
All of the majors are like artsy student stuff, you know? But like I don't think they do anything like that. Or if they do, they're not getting taught how to do it. It's just a little weird.
Fascinating.
It's a little weird. Like I guess you can go to a college and not need the major, but like the school's like expensive.
Yeah. I'll be sure to look into this. Do you know where I might possibly find one of them?
Oh, I know where their room is.
Oh.
But if they're not there, then I don't really know what else to do. Uh, I honestly, I would say you should try and go for it though, because as I said, I see the sister around all the time. I never see her brother. I don't know where her brother is, so maybe he's just cooped up all the time. I look at my watch. You have 20 minutes if you want to try to find Will frantically in this dorm.
Correct. I would
Huh?
like to do that.
Oh, delicious. Okay, let's do that. Okay. Okay. So Rionia actually shows you in person where it is. And it is room 201, which is just down the
Okay.
hall. I'm gonna pause really quick so I can use the bathroom, and I'm gonna get ready for this because this is gonna be fun because I didn't expect it, but I think this will be fun. And we're going to have you go to this room that Rionia has shown you to. Rionia shows you to the room, a couple doors down. And the minute you go to knock, you see that she actually very quickly takes the couple steps back to her dorm room and sort of hides behind the door. Still relatively within earshot.
Mm-hmm.
And as you knock, you hear a soft shuffling of paper, and you hear a voice say, "Coming." And the door opens, and you see in front of you the same figure that you saw just last night. Tall, blonde, statuesque, wearing a uniform made of armor and bright blue. And of course, the ever swirling ice of his prosthetic leg. And he looks in surprise and he's like, "Oh, hello."
Hello. Apologies for the interruption. I was hoping if I could speak with you.
Oh, no, it's no interruption. Like Rowan said, we're here to help, you know? And he goes to kind of step out of the way and open the door. And you see for almost a split second as he does it, his step falters a bit. But he stands up as if nothing has happened and closes the door behind you. And I don't have to send you what this room looks like because it's just the room I sent you earlier.
Nice.
It's just their room.
Nice. Felyn will look around and come courtesy. Your room looks lovely.
Thanks, but it's... I know it's plain. You don't have to play at it.
Sometimes there is beauty in simplicity. But I was hoping if you could tell me more about both yourself and the professor, if you would not mind. I would like to learn more.
Oh, of course, if that's something that interests you, I don't mind. And you see he kind of looks over the room and realizes that there is a lack of places to sit. And he says, come with me. It would be more comfortable if we could get comfortable. And he goes to lead you into where you now know would be the studio next to their rooms. And you come in, and it is about as sparsely decorated as the first room. But this is what it's in. And he kind of leads you over to that sort of small couch next to the bookshelves. And he sits down kind of with a small sigh, and he says, make yourself comfortable.
Flynn will smile and nod and go to sit next to him. And I need just 1 second because the dogs have started barking.
That's okay, take your time. Welcome back.
Flynn will kind of, with her hands in her lap, look to Will and say, I suppose to start, where to start?
There is sort of a lot, I suppose.
Nods, and she'll say, something easy then. She's going to look to him. What are your interests?
Oh. Well, lately, especially if you asked Rowan, it would seem that my only interest is studying, but I like to I think a lot of things that you learn deserve the time and effort to learn them. So lately, my interests seem to just be studying and preparing for the next test. But in general, I am. It sounds boring to describe my interests. I like to spar and train physically. I enjoy things like chess and reading. Um, for a while, I studied a bit of music, but I never got particularly good with it. And other than that, I just spend my time trying to figure out magic.
Flynn just gets a big smile on her face, and she says, it seems much of our interests align. That is good to know.
You don't know how much of a relief that sounds to me. I've gotten the idea since I've come here that I'm incredibly dull.
No, not at all. I actually spent my night last night that wasn't spent trancing, studying up on the school itself.
Getting ahead of the actual orientation classes, I see.
Mm-hmm.
I can't blame you with all the time they give you. It feels good to have a leg up in this situation when you don't know as much as you'd like.
Flynn nods. I'm actually going to be going around and touring the other campuses with the rest of my roommates.
Oh, that sounds fun. There's a lot of very interesting things on some of the other campuses. I'm sure you'll find a lot of places that'll be worth your time to visit over the years you're here.
Flynn nods. She's gonna think for a bit. What has school been like for you as a planeswalker?
Well, See, that's very interesting because when I was brought here, I actually wasn't sure what to make of everything. I know you guys were brought very suddenly after your invitation, but when me and Rowan were first brought here, we were just asked if we wanted to learn more about our spark, and then we were just dropped off here. So I feel like I had even less preparation than you all did.
Oh my.
But it's not bad. I feel like we both managed to, make friends. And one second.
Okay.
I'm sorry, where was I? I was talking about how school's been, right?
Yes.
Okay, so he basically was like, oh, we've managed to make like some friends. Schooling is a bit difficult, considering we never had formal schooling back on Eldraine, but I feel like we've adjusted. I feel like the rocky start is behind us, as it were. I think it could potentially be very interesting, though, now that it's a little more open, that planeswalkers exist, that we might be able to, I guess, talk more freely with people, whether it be you all or our friends who didn't know beforehand.
Felyn smiles and gives a nod. And says, yes, planeswalkers stick together.
That they do. You'd actually be surprised at how true that statement is. They always have a habit of running into each other.
Then nods, and she says, I had heard that the Professor Onyx, that word had gotten out last year that she was a planeswalker, and it apparently caused quite a stir.
You see him look a bit sheepish and run a hand through his hair, and he says, yeah. There was a bit of a situation involving the three of us that ended in us having to be more upfront about our true nature, but thankfully, this school showed more interest than alarm at the revelation.
Felyn nods. She says, I will not press if it is a stressful topic.
I wouldn't mind talking about it at a later date, but suffice it to say that it was big enough to involve that sort of a scandal, I guess, and not to mention, and you see he kind of wraps a knuckle against his knee. So.
Oh. Hey, God.
Yeah, what's up?
Am I okay? Because it's an ice lake. There's obviously some kind of like magic thing going on. Am I able to tell that he's like that? There's like spell stuff happening, like actively.
I will say that you know enough about Arcana to be able to see that it is an active thing that is happening. Whether it is the prosthetic or him or an outside source, you don't really know, but you can definitely see that like the ice is like moving. It's not like frozen solid. It's like you can tell as you kind of stare at it that it's like moving, if that makes sense.
Flynn will kind of look at it, and she's going to say, "This is actually a very fascinating prosthetic. I have never seen one quite like it."
Oh.
May I ask what the there seems to be some arcane energy flowing through it. May I ask how it functions?
Oh, yes. So, essentially, one second. I gotta open up the wiki because they have a fancier way of describing this than me.
Ooh.
He kind of smiles at that, losing a bit of the sheepishness from the beginning, and he says, "Well, thank you for the compliment. Most of this is actually my doing. I'm using blue mana, specifically ice magic, under the principle of thermodynamic redirection, to keep it frozen solid."
Felyn's eyes light up, and she gets a big smile, and she kind of leans in like just a little bit. And she says, "That is incredibly impressive."
Thank you. Rowan likes to dig at my choices every time it comes up in conversation, but I thought it would be an interesting way to get better practice with control and that sort of thing.
Felyn nods. Uh, and she will kind of look back down at the leg, and she's going to start bombarding him with questions about it of an arcane nature.
Delicious. I don't know any of those answers, but he would. So
I
he
don't know
definitely
much of the
talks to you about it.
questions, so yeah.
Delicious. Yeah, and you kind of have this back and forth where you guys are talking about the basic principle, like where he read about it, like what steps are, and like I guess end goals and stuff like that, and like how it works. And basically, I will say that it's a very interesting thing, because since you're sitting down, he actually can like let it drop, and when you can see the prosthetic, it's actually like very bare bones. It's actually like barely a lattice work of like wires and rods. So you get the impression that he wasn't joking. If he's not keeping up the ice, he probably can't actually put his weight on it. But he doesn't let it drop for too long because it takes a long time to get the ice back up. So
She's gonna look at him. She's gonna say, "That must take up a lot of concentration."
yeah, it does a bit. I have to be keeping at least a portion of my mind and also my energy, keeping it up throughout the day. But and he kind of gives a shrug and he says, "That was the idea, so I guess I can't really be one to complain about it."
Fun will chuckle a bit, and how do I want to say this?
Hmm? I'm very intrigued by that premise.
Flynn will chuckle a bit, and she will say, "I am very familiar with the lengths that one may go for the sake of practice or study." She'll kind of clasp her hands together, and she'll say, "If it would not be too bothersome, I would very much like to, perhaps not right now, but in the future when I have more queries, to discuss things of an arcane nature with you. You are clearly very knowledgeable on the subject." She gestures to him.
Again, I appreciate that you find my knowledge impressive. I definitely wouldn't mind it. I quite enjoy getting a chance to talk to people with different viewpoints and different experiences. Now that we are far away from home and the familiar, uh, I'll take any knowledge and advice that you have.
Flynn nods and smiles, and She says, I am not familiar with the system of mana that I have only briefly learned about uh, that exists here. But where I come from, we do have a particular school of magic that is considered rare to us, though seeing some of the things here is perhaps not as rare as we once thought. But I am more studied in the field of time and gravity.
Oh, those are very interesting specialities.
Mhm. In terms of the actual casting of the spells, I am still relearning to get to what I once was, but I have the knowledge at the very least.
Well, I definitely think that there are worse places to be than just knowing something and not being able to cast it. If anything, I find that very impressive in its own right.
Thank you.
Of course.
Well, Flynn's gonna think for a bit.
Yeah.
She's going to ask him if you don't mind my asking, I would actually love to learn more about your home, where you came from.
Oh, Eldraine?
Mhm.
Oh, well, it's always a bit difficult trying to describe a place you come from to people who've never been there. I feel like you never really examine things you take for granted until you realize that other people didn't have the same situation. But me and Rowan grew up in one second, I'm finding the town, I'm sorry. But me and Rowan grew up in the kingdom of Ardenvale. It's I would compare it to a city-state. Where I come from, there is a realm that is ruled by a high king, but in the realm there are 5 kingdoms within it, essentially. And the one I'm from is called Ardenvale. As far as what it's like, a lot of the biomes are focused on forests. It's a very heavily wooded plain. I know I just made a comment on it, but it is very strange to talk about one's home out of the blue.
Flynn chuckles a bit, and she says, if it would make you feel better, I can share about my own home.
I definitely wouldn't mind that.
Well, not. I think she'll just share some of the basics of like the dynasty, but making sure to include the fact that this is just one like country of many.
Yes, I understand that it's easier to talk about specifically where you came from instead of a whole world. I'm also ill prepared to talk about the other kingdoms in Eldraine, so I understand.
I oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
What I was gonna say, I do have basic knowledge of some of the other locations, though there are some locations that I know a bit more than most. My country has a very long-standing rivalry with a neighboring country, so Whether I wanted to or not, I learned a bit more about that one.
I understand. I feel that is the nature of conflict and rivalries. Uh, there was not always worry of things like that, things like war and conflict, but we were no stranger of it either. Um, though it came less from other kingdoms and more so the other inhabitants of the plane.
Hello?
Huh?
Hello, sorry.
No.
Flynn was just gonna kind of tilt her head and say, "Oh."
Yes. And you see he looks a little bit awkward and he says, as he kind of tips his head to you, well, namely elves, fae, and the like.
How would she respond to that?
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing to be like, hi, bestie, I know we're talking about conflict. This is when I really have to awkwardly tell you that I'm at war with elves right now.
uh, Flynn will kind of nod her head a bit slowly. I'll just say, "I see."
Yes. Please make no assumptions that I have a predisposition towards elves now, but it is something of an issue on our home plane.
Flynn will nod in understanding, then she'll kind of smile and say, "You don't have to worry about me having a predisposition towards humans. Those are the primary aggressors in the conflict. That's
Well, I'm glad to see that we both have a chance to get over potential prejudices that could happen.
Flynn will smile and she will nod in agreement.
I'm trying to think of other things that could be of interest of my home. Something of note that I find particularly interesting in planes that I visited since leaving Eldraine is that there is a particular importance set on the kingdom and knighthood. I've found very few planes have becoming a knight be a valid career path as it is on Eldraine, which I find interesting.
You cannot say that my home has perhaps the same level of importance, but it is a career path.
Oh, quite interesting.
We have a particular class of knights, if you would, called Echo Knights.
Oh. What makes them echo?
Flynn gets a big smile on her face, and she is going to start explaining the basics of how the magic works for echoes in relation to Dunamancy.
Yeah, we love Dunamis!
Woo!
We love wild shit. He's definitely very interested, and I feel like he talks at length about that because I think he finds that particularly interesting. And I think that as he's talking about it, he also kind of talks about how it's very interesting to go to different planes and see how magic is different in different planes because of things like how the spark works, things like how your dunamancy works, and that sort of thing, and how it's very interesting.
Yes. Flynn would agree, and she would also share that she's very excited to explore using mana.
Yeah, mana is very interesting, he would say, and that they'll go into a lot of detail starting, I want to say tomorrow, uh, into what mana means and how it affects sort of the building blocks of worlds, and it's very cool.
Felyn nods. She says, "I have been told that will be one of the things that is being covered. I'm very excited for it.
Yes.
Though I am." She thinks for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much free time I could expect to have tomorrow?
Well, classes sort of end around. Let me look at my little time chart. Lectures last a decent bit into the day, but you should be. I know there's a bit of time in the morning before lectures start, and then as well, uh, you're sort of. Well, okay. It depends on how invested you are in the lectures, but if you're anything like me, you'll probably stay there the entire time. But you should be able to wander around again before twilight is over, or before twilight starts. So I'm gonna just tell you that's gonna be like around like 2 to 4 p.m.
Nice.
So like if you stay in class the longest amount of time, that's about when you'll be able to run around.
Hell yeah. Flynn will nod and she'll say, "Oh, that's good to know. Okay, okay."
Yes, they leave a lot of time for things like extracurriculars and, wandering around, free time, that sort of thing, meals. And also, this is whenever I have to stop because I got lost track of time.
Ah, shit. Okay.
Yeah, but I will say that you guys can sort of talk a bit more. If you have any really quick questions, you can DM them to me and I'll answer them because I did that with Mackenzie. Mackenzie asked a question that was really short, so I just gave an answer in text. And also, I think something that Will would kind of mention offhand as you guys are talking before you leave is that he's actually really thankful for like the chance to talk to you because he kind of had expected that anytime somebody had come to talk to him, it would have been like about planeswalking, about the spark, about big shit, and like it was really refreshing that you went and you wanted to like talk to him just about like casual things instead of just like big stuff and heavy stuff, and so he liked it a lot.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording.